Welcome back to another episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast. I'm your host, the Salty Nerd. In today's Salty News segment, we're going to be discussing a couple different topics. Starting, of course, with the news that Robert Pattinson doesn't want to set a precedence by going to the gym.
Batman doesn't want to look like Batman.
Batman doesn't want to look like Batman. But actually, Kadish, you had an interesting thing to say about that. We'll talk about it in a minute. Also, we're going to be discussing... Yes, you did. We're going to be discussing vampires. Tell me about vampires, Jude. What's on the news for the vampire scene?
Oh, okay. So AMC have bought the rights to all of Anne Rice's Chronicles, as far as Interview with the Vampire, all of her vampire stories, Interview with the Vampire, Lestat, Queen of the Damned, and all of her Maywitch series, which is Taltos and Lasher, The Witching Hour. So she has, she's been pretty vocal about wanting all of her products, all of her content under one umbrella, so that if there were some crossovers, that would be a little bit more feasible. And I think she had a deal with Hulu at one point, but then she held out for a while for a deal that bit more what she had envisioned for all of her content. And so AMC has provided that for her.
AMC?
Yeah.
I'm totally down with that.
Yeah?
This sounds great.
You guys are the vampire people.
I think AMC is a good place for this to land because, you know, they're not afraid to go long form storytelling, you know, as with these kind of crazy.
Yeah, AMC has brought us The Walking Dead. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
Preacher.
so we're talking like TV shows, not movies.
Nosferatu.
Correct.
Yeah.
Nosferatu is part of her?
Yep. No, not her. It's on AMC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So are you guys excited for that then? Are you looking for more?
I'm stoked. I have read probably 50% of the books that are listed here in front of me, which I won't all go into. I won't give you a list, but I've read probably half of the Vampire Chronicles and half of the Mayfair Witch stories, and I love them. You can't see me, but my eyes are all rolled up in the back of my head right now. Like I'm excited for this, and I think cool. AMC is a good umbrella to be under for this.
It really does sound like Anne Rice. First of all, she wants her own cinematic universe, and secondly, it says here in the story that she's looking for a Game of Thrones style faithful rendering of the material.
Yes. Oh God,
that's a bad analogy.
Yeah, and also,
well, here's the difference. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. No,
I was just say she actually finishes her books.
Well played, sir. And she has signed on to be an executive producer on everything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I think
she's
it's going to
keep them honest.
But wait a second. Didn't you just tell me last week that executive producers don't mean shit?
Not in movies, they don't. In TV shows, they do.
Oh, okay. All right.
Different worlds.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm sorry.
No, I was going to ask, are we going to see like a resurgence in vampire stuff? Because we have like Into the or What We Do in the Shadows is kind of like.
What do you mean a resurgence? Haven't you ever watched the CW?
Right.
No, actually. I don't keep up with like vampire shows
Speaking
and stuff.
Speaking of CW, there's news there too.
To me personally, because I don't keep up with the genre, like the last thing that had anything to do with vampires was Twilight to me. Once Twilight died off, I kind of felt like there was a lull, and now you guys kind of introduced me to What We Do in the Shadows.
No, there's the Vampire Diaries and the originals. There was Supernatural. I think they might have had vampires on there.
But specifically
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I love Buffy.
That was the 90s. That was before Twilight, though, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People still watch it to this day.
I know.
The last good vampire show was True Blood.
So vampire like TV shows and culture stuff like that hasn't gone anywhere.
No, it hasn't gone anywhere.
There's been a lot of vampire shows on Netflix.
Okay.
We went through a big vampire phase, and then we went into zombies.
Yeah.
And I think we're all tired of zombies right now. We're going to go back to vampires.
Right on. Do you guys have any other thoughts about this, or you want to move on to the next topic?
No, that does it.
All right, cool. Hey, looking for some more vampire topics.
This has a lot of potential.
Yeah, let's talk about. This is only 5 minutes long. Let's talk about Robert Pattinson and his weird comments. So, and I'll bring up something else that happened too during this whole debacle. Like I saw the news. I think you tweeted it, Kadish, and then I saw it and I was like, "What?" And I read it, and Robert Pattinson was basically like, had some feeling that like if he were to work out every day he did mention during quarantine, so he's not filming at the moment. Nobody's filming anything, and he's like, if I work out every day, I set a bad precedence.
Yeah, so basically he was working out. He was on a workout and diet regimen leading up to filming before quarantine hit. And then apparently once quarantine hit, his trainer left him with like instructions and like weights and stuff and was like, here's what I want you to do. And he was just like, yeah, I'm not going to do any of that. And then like, but the thing is, he was doing it leading up to filming and then left on his own. He was like, here's why I'm not doing it.
I don't want to set a
Which
precedent.
sounds so douchey.
It does.
You know, when I read this, in my head, all I see for Robert Pattinson is the leader of the goth kids on South Park. And he's like, I'm not going to work out because it's just so conformist. I don't want to set a precedent. He's smoking a cigarette and taking his stupid pictures for Esquire magazine or whatever.
So like,
that was.
there's
like,
two different.
Get out of here.
There's two different
Sparkles.
things I kind of get. Sparkles.
Never going to live that down.
No, he's not. Unfortunately, I get that. Like during the quarantine, if they're not filming, like. Leaning real heavily on this like really regimented like diet and exercise routine while they're not filming anything kind of makes sense. Like you don't want to burn yourself out because it is a lot of work. Like these guys that do these superhero movies like Hemsworth.
That's what they do.
I know.
That's their job.
I know. That's the argument against it, right? It's like, dude, you're getting paid millions of dollars. Just do the work.
Yeah.
We're going to pay you millions of dollars to be in good shape.
He said while they were filming Twilight, he was asked to take his shirt off for one scene. And then after he took his shirt off, they were like, put your shirt back on.
Well, it's because he was like skin and bones back then.
Yeah, but if you look at New Moon, when he's like marching out of that church,
I've never seen any of those movies.
To get into the sunlight to expose himself as a vampire. he's got his shirt off in that scene, and he's pretty ripped.
Is he?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
So he's done this before.
Like I'm not saying the guy can't be ripped. Like I know he's a slim dude. He's got some slim stature.
He's going to be all Batman suit and a tiny little neck and head.
Yeah, that's
and the cowl's going to fall off.
That's the worry, right? Like
there has to be a difference.
He's going to be bat neck.
There has to be a middle ground between Batfleck and Stick and Bones guy.
Yeah.
You know, so
I mean, like Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer.
That's what you said the other day.
They didn't work out to get into.
It was different times.
Yeah, it was different.
But I mean, like if you look at them in the suit, though, the suit has all the muscles built into it.
Okay, but Michael Keaton was magnanimous on a screen.
Magnanimous?
Yeah.
Is that a word?
Yeah.
It is a word, but I don't think that word means what you think it means.
I do not think that word means what you think it means.
Vader, Google it. I can't right now because I'm staring Kadish down.
How dare you, sir?
I mean, magnanimous
generous
means
or
generous.
forgiving?
Yeah.
Forgiving, especially towards a rival or less powerful person.
I retract my earlier statement.
He was very easy on the eyes. He was very forgiving on the eyes.
Here's the thing, though.
I'm going to look up a word that I mean.
When I look at Kilmer or Keaton in those bat suits, all I see is some guys that are faking it with their fake muscles on their suit.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that way with like Affleck. I kind of feel that way with Christian Bale a little bit.
Oh, Bale was,
but he was a really good Batman. But I think he needs to like at least have some definition and some muscle tone underneath that suit. So I mean,
yeah,
that's part of making superhero movies these days.
Well, his stunt double, who's going to be doing 90% of shooting, probably has that definition. So.
Yeah, I mean, put in some effort, man.
But it's just the fact that he's like, I don't want to set a precedent.
Like the precedent's already set. Have you seen any Marvel movie?
Like you're coming in too late in the Batman game to be setting any precedent.
Yeah, the precedent's already set, and you're trying to break the norm now.
The precedent he's setting is this Frankenstein's monster scar cowl that they've got.
I think that was a fan render of that. I hope that's not what the cowl looks like.
Look like dog crap.
That looked terrible. There was a picture that was circulating on the web, the interwebs that I'm pretty sure, I didn't verify this, but I'm pretty sure it was just a fan edit of what it could possibly look like, because they haven't actually revealed what the cowl will look like. It's just like a real shaded version of it, like underneath red lighting and stuff. But I don't know. the reveal that they showed in this fan edit or on this composite, it was like it was like a leather mask with
But
like.
I mean, we've seen video of his stunt double in the full outfit.
He had like a motorcycle helmet on though, didn't he?
No, he had a full cowl.
Did he?
Yeah.
It didn't look bad in those pictures.
No, it didn't.
So where'd this dumb like leather stitching cowl come from?
I don't
Just
know.
nonsense. I hope it's just nonsense.
From Twitter.
Twitter is nonsense. So yeah, I mean, to Vader's point, I agree with you. The dude's getting paid a ton of money to be Batman. So like, just come on, dude.
Yeah.
Lift up.
Take a lesson from Christian Bale,
yeah, he
who
changed.
like
Or any of them.
kills himself for every role that he does. Don't be a douchebag.
Kill yourself for our entertainment.
Kill yourself. My point earlier that I was trying to make was just that Michael Keaton, his presence is very imposing and impressive, and even if he's not super buff, like he fills a screen, and that's what I meant.
Okay, I got you.
And Val Kilmer, I think he was probably. I mean, wasn't he already kind of a buff dude?
At the time.
Did he need to like sculpt up in the suit? No, but I mean, he wasn't a twig to start with.
I don't know. I mean,
Christian Bale set like a precedent for how you get into the role of Batman.
Yeah, for sure. And if you look at guys, I think a similarly built person to Pattinson would probably be Zachary Levi. He's a pretty slim dude, thin, nerdy, like especially from Chuck, coming from off of that and other films like that, going to Shazam, where he like bulked up a lot.
You know what's funny though is like in Shazam, like
It looks like a padded suit.
Yeah, all of his muscles look like they're padded suit
But
muscles.
they're not. Well, I think some of them are. I think there's definitely some padding on
I mean,
that
it's not
suit.
like The Rock. You know?
No, he's not that big. But you can see there's definitely a difference. You can see he worked out to
Yeah.
get himself into that shape.
If Batman was that buff, he wouldn't be Batman at that point. It's like that's taking it a little far there, buddy.
Yeah. So I am worried that Pattinson, like I believe he has the acting chops. I've seen a bunch of his other movies, and he's a really good actor.
He's a good actor.
Yeah, he's great. But
He also seems to be a dickhead in real life.
sometimes, but he did that with the Twilight fans too, didn't he? He was like, I don't like these movies; they're stupid, and all the Twilight fans were like, "What? Edward
Guys
doesn't-"
are all sheep, conformists.
Conformist. Give me a cigarette.
So this kind of
Gonna
seems
smoke
like
some cloves.
this kind of seems like as per usual for Pattinson.
Drink some
Kind
coffee
of.
at Denny's.
Yeah, I would like to be surprised.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I think did you guys? Nobody else
I
saw.
mean, they cast him for a reason.
Yeah. Did anybody else see John Campio's meltdown on it?
No.
He basically
No.
said the same thing that you said, Vader, but in a very childish and retarded way.
Like I did.
Campy
No.
saying something
Don't
childish
say
and
that.
retarded? You don't say.
He was like legit, like freaking out, like veins popping out of his head, like yelling, "You do this for millions of dollars, like you deserve to," like Batman deserves better than. I'm like, dude, like fucking calm down, a little
Relax,
bit.
bro.
You'll be all right, man. It's just a movie. But Campy is Campy.
Well, Warner Brothers isn't paying his paychecks. It's Disney.
Yeah, that was made clear.
The
All right.
Empire is paying his paycheck.
Matthew Kadish, you have a subject that you would like to talk to us about. Tell us about Percy Jackson.
Yeah, so Disney Plus is taking the Percy Jackson books and turning it into a Disney Plus original series. And I'm very excited about this because the movies were terrible. Like I've read the main 5 Percy Jackson books, and they were fantastic. A lot of fun, kind of like the spiritual successor to Harry Potter. And when I saw the movies, I was really excited to see them, and they just totally took everything good from the books and got rid of it and just did crap. And the worst thing is so the first movie was crap, and then the second movie comes along, you're like, okay, maybe they learned something from the first movie, and they actually made the second movie worse than the first, and just deviated from the books in the stupidest ways possible. So I'm excited to see that Disney Plus is actually going to do something with the Percy Jackson franchise. They're going to make it into a TV show. I think it would make a great TV show. And Rick Riordan made this announcement on Twitter today, and he's very excited for it. I just hope that they actually, have people behind this show that are going to treat the source material with some respect, because it could be a very cool show to watch.
What age range do you think they're going to aim it at?
Oh, probably, family friendly stuff.
Young adult, like young teenage years?
Yeah, probably the same Harry Potter type
Okay.
age group.
Like the Riverdale demographic.
Yeah. only a little bit more inclusive, not just teenage girls.
I don't know anything about Percy Jackson. Can you kind of explain a little bit about what it's about?
So basically, it's about the Greek god pantheon. So in the Percy Jackson world, Greek gods all exist. The gods of Olympus, and they have these children called demigods, where like they have children with actual like human mortals, and the demigods have like some powers of the gods, but they're not like supremely powerful.
Perseus and Hercules.
Exactly. And so because they're the offspring of the gods, they tend to attract monsters and like mythical beasts to attack them because they're unnatural.
Okay.
And so in order to protect them, they're shuffled off to this camp called Camp Half-Blood. And basically because demigods are like half-blooded humans and half-blooded gods. And so they go there and they train to use their powers. It's basically like Hogwarts. And Percy Jackson, you don't know who his father is at first and what powers he has. But basically he discovers that he's one of these demigods and he's sent to this camp. And he has to go on a quest in order to basically save the life of the gods. And it's about him and this like group of friends that he makes and the quest that they go on. And it's kind of like a traditional like Greek hero quest, kind of like what Perseus does and stuff like that. And he keeps running into all these like bizarre monsters and like at one point he runs into Ares, the god of war, and he has to fight the god of war and stuff like that. So basically the author takes all these like Greek and Roman myths and kind of incorporates them into a young adult adventure tale. And it's really good. Like it's not quite as good as Harry Potter, but it's in the same kind of like range, I would say, in terms of entertainment value. And the movies just totally didn't do it justice.
Okay. So this is going to be real heavy on the special effects then, I'm assuming.
Not necessarily. Like you could probably get away with like minimal special effects on this.
Even fighting all these monsters and stuff? Or
I guess it depends on how they do the monsters.
You ever watch Disney Channel shows?
like live action Disney Channel shows?
Yeah.
No.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay. Sounds like Clash of the Titans. You remember that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that movie was so
Great
good.
movie.
Release the Kraken.
Yeah, Release the Kraken with Liam Neeson as Zeus.
No, I know I'm being hard on it because this is probably going to be really good. But all I got in my head is I was hanging out with my grandkids a couple of months ago, and they were stuck on this Disney Plus show, I think. And it was all the evil characters in Disney World lived on an island, and all the good people lived on the mainland. And it was terrible. It was just like, what's going on here? And it's like the main characters were like the daughter of the evil queen, and
Was it the Descendants? Was that what was it?
no,
Once Upon a Time or something like that?
I don't know. It was just awful.
That movie went on for a while.
terrible.
That was that
a
TV show.
Yeah.
But it's made for 6-year-olds, so it was fine.
Did you say you had something to say?
Oh, I have another story.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Okay. So, American Horror Story, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
I am familiar,
Okay.
but I've never watched it.
So they are set to start shooting their 10th season, and they just announced that they are doing a spin-off series, which is supposed to be called American Horror Stories.
Plural.
So Ryan Murphy is the producer of American Horror Story, and the new series is supposed to be a bit different from American Horror Story, which is an anthology series. So word on the street is that the new spin-off, American Horror Stories, is supposed to be more of a true storytelling. And I don't know if you saw this, but Rob Lowe got all dressed up as Joe Exotic and said that he's working on something with Ryan Murphy. So my working theory is that he's going to be doing a spin-off of American Horror Story with Ryan Murphy as Joe Exotic.
As Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
They're going to do like a
What happened to Carol?
what happened to Carol Baskin or something, like a what if scenario.
This show
Who
will
really
not
tried to
go
kill
away.
Carol
No,
Baskin?
it will not. You know, I was thinking about that, like the novelty of the Tiger King and how long it's going to last before people just become not interested in it. Like me and Vader are like completely over it. Like we watched it, we don't ever want to see it again. Nick Cage gets cast as like Joe Exotic.
I could watch it every day.
Rest of my life.
So I like
Killed her husband, whacked
him. What's happening?
I will be
They
interested
stacking.
to see her go to jail. That will be fascinating to me. But man, I am just, all these people do is remind me of where I grew up, and I hate it.
On the peppermint farm?
Yeah. Small town, little hickland.
Yeah.
Just
I feel it, man. I don't like it either, and I don't want to see it.
bunch of no tooth having meth head.
But it's never going to go away.
It's just,
Scruffy looking nerf herder.
those people just annoy me. They do.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. And I was really hoping that this would be like a novelty thing that would come up in popularity and then disappear, and nobody would ever talk about it again. But it seems like it's got some legs. So
Bow down to your lord,
No.
Master Joe
no,
Sonic.
I'm going to be talking about this stupid freaking show for.
I'll quit.
You're not going to do the review.
I'm not doing any more Joe Exotic podcasts.
Okay. Deal.
Speaking of Disney Plus,
That'll be our
Yes.
spin-off podcast.
Nice segue. Speaking of Disney Plus, I do want to mention this is actually something that's kind of exciting for me too. Is Katie Sackhoff has
Yeah.
announced that she is officially joining The Mandalorian season 2, which I thought was pretty freaking cool. And of course, it's not oddly fitting. It's very fitting that she's going to be playing the character from Clone Wars, Bo-Katan, who first appeared in season 4 of Clone Wars, the animated series. And she's part of the Mandalorian group that was involved in the siege on Mandalore with Darth Maul taking over and the Darksaber storyline. She's like tied up into all those things. And to have her showing up, and it's not just her, it's like multiple people that are from the Clone Wars series are going to start popping into Mandalorian season 2. And I'm wondering, is Dave Filoni going overboard with this, or are you guys on board with...
Depends on what they're doing. It could be nothing more than a 2 or 3 minute flashback scene.
Or a cameo or
Or
something.
it could be a cameo or anything,
Yeah.
just none of this stuff. It's all cool. All this casting news is coming out, but
Because they got,
who
Tom
knows?
Holland is playing a character from the Clone Wars
has
too.
that been confirmed? Is that real?
I think that was just a rumor.
Was it just a
Yeah.
rumor? Oh, okay. Sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
I mean,
But we know Ahsoka is going to be in it.
Yeah, Ahsoka.
you know,
So I feel like Dave Filoni is like, he's taking his project of the past 15 years and just like, you know what? I'm just going to move it and merge it into live action and continue from there. Because if it's successful and if it's popular, if it's as popular in live action as it was in the cartoon version, like I can imagine them just continuing on with these actors and continuing these stories.
Well, Filoni was the one behind the whole Darksaber and Mandalore saga and
so is
Clone
Favreau
Wars.
too.
So, it makes sense to extend that into the Mandalorian. I don't know, I haven't watched the Clone Wars, so I don't know who Bo-Katan is or what her. I know that she was like the sister
Part of the Death Watch.
Yeah, she was the sister of the leader of Mandalore, who was kind of Obi-Wan squeeze at one point. And Katie Sackhoff voiced the character in the Clone Wars, so it's appropriate to get her to come back for the.
Why don't they get the
series.
lady who voiced Ahsoka then to come in? Man,
because
feels a bit dirty.
she has a certain look and a certain body type, and I just don't think the girl has what they're looking for.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I disagree. I think she fits perfectly,
I don't think she does.
but I'm not convinced that you can do Ahsoka live action still. So we'll see.
I think you're going to be surprised.
I hope I am. I hope I'm wrong. But like when I look at it in like cosplay and whatnot, I'm like,
I feel like Filoni is just basically he's extending his stories and he's bringing them to live action instead of animation.
yeah.
And I'm totally down with that. That's completely fine.
They also confirmed that Boba Fett's going to be returning
Yeah.
for season
Oh
2.
yeah, they did talk about that too.
with the actor who played Django playing the role.
Yep.
Talk about a guy.
I heard he was doing double duty as Captain Rex.
It's
I hope
it's
so.
possible, but talk about a guy who's going to need to get in shape for a role.
He got a
Did
little-
you see him in Aquaman?
Yeah. Hopefully he kind of shapes up. But I mean, I think that's super cool. But I do kind of feel a little bit bad for Daniel Logan. He's the guy who played Boba Fett in episode 2 as the young kid. Because he's grown up and he
doesn't look like Captain
I know
Rex.
he doesn't look like any of them, but I'm like, man, like he loves the Star Wars fandom so much. He's always on there. He's always goes to the conventions. He's always interacting with fans. I'm like, the guy needs something. Like, give him a role.
Put his time in.
Yeah, like, I feel like he deserves at least to be under the helmet. Like, what's it?
Yeah,
What's that
I don't
gonna
know. I don't get too worked up over these announcements because with season 1 of The Mandalorian, it's like, oh, Taika Waititi's going to be in it. Well, he was in it for 45 seconds.
He was the voice of
yeah,
robot.
yeah, it wasn't even him. There was that one episode that had the big guest stars, where they were
Clancy Brown,
Clancy Brown and all those guys. Yeah,
Bill Burr.
And they were all kind of minor characters, and they're all probably going to come back. But, there'll probably be an episode.
I love those characters.
There'll probably be an episode that Ahsoka's in it, maybe 2, and we'll probably get 10 minutes of her on screen, and she'll go on to her own show.
I hear a rumor that there's going to be a lightsaber fight. So I'm thinking Ahsoka goes up against whoever's holding the darksaber for a quick minute, which will be pretty cool. Jude, do you have any thoughts going on with this stuff?
I really want to get those lightsaber chopsticks.
I love the interaction
between
you two. You're like, you don't even like Star Wars. And you're like, yeah, but I like chopsticks and I like things that light up. So that was the perfect response you could have said.
So there's new rumors that Amazon might acquire AMC Theaters, and AMC Theaters has nothing to do with the AMC cable channel that we talked about earlier. But with the coronavirus lockdown, movie theaters have been really hurting, and a lot of people have been saying that AMC Theaters is kind of on the ropes. And Amazon, it's one of the biggest companies in the world, and they're
doing fine.
Yeah, especially now. So they've acquired other brick and mortar companies in the past, like Whole Foods, for instance. And so there's talk that they may be interested in buying out AMC and adding a theater chain to their business. And it makes sense because they're one of the biggest video and streaming companies. They're also their own studio where they make their original movies and TV shows. So to have their own theater chain to feed their content into could be a big thing for that. However, I'm not quite sure how legit this is because AMC is basically owned by the Chinese government. So they're not hurting for money. So I'm not quite sure how realistic this thing is, but I just kind of find it interesting that
the power play is going on behind the scenes.
Well, if Amazon were to ever acquire its own theater chain, it could be a very powerful, game-changing thing.
I just hate this news because I think Amazon's too big. It's in everything now.
Yeah,
just like Walmart, and I just
but
I also don't like the fact that AMC is owned by Chinese government, so I guess I just don't care.
It's like a running joke in all these new TV shows that we're watching that all these giant conglomerate industries are merging each other. What was that show Upload that we watched? That was was it Tostito Dome or something like that or whatever it was, or AT&T,
Nokia Taco Bell.
Nokia Taco Bell.
We're going to talk about that show later, but that's terrifying to me.
It's
that whole
real.
The whole premise of that show is jacked up. It scares the hell out of me.
You have to keep paying for stuff even after death.
It's like the microtransactions.
Microtransactions, exactly.
Yeah, just a heads up to our listeners, we're going to be doing a full season 1 recap review of the Amazon Prime TV show Upload. So you guys can look for that in the future whenever we get around to sitting down and recording.
Start storing your gigs.
Are we ever going to get to go back to the movie theater?
I hope so, man.
I don't care.
I am so
I only
tired.
put on pants when you guys come here.
I just bought my brand new TV a couple months ago, and I'm tired of it because I've watched so much shit on this TV.
That's some first world problems.
But I want to go to a theater, man.
I think the theaters might institute the gay blocker officially. The buffer seat where you have to sit.
The what blocker?
The gay blocker.
Why would you call it a gay blocker?
Well, that's what it was called. Where it was you don't want to sit too close to your friend because it's gay.
What?
So you'd always leave a seat between the two of you. Come on, didn't you guys go to high school?
Not your high school.
I guess not.
It's not okay.
Wow.
Quit touching me.
You mean the little partitions? They're called partitions.
Quit sitting next to no. Like if you sat next to each other and you were sharing the armrest, that's gay. So you have to have a seat between the two of you.
That's why you take your girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. That's not gay.
But what's going to happen? We're going to go to the theater, right?
Weird.
And they're going to have 2 seats blocked off at a time. So you're going to have to buy 2 seats. And there's going to be a freaking plexiglass divider. Every other
God,
seat.
I hope not.
Oh, it's going to be
And you can't bring your own because your germs will be on it.
Yes, God forbid.
Just for the record, like I said before, this new normal, it's not normal.
That's not normal.
It's not normal.
And people who wear masks.
Give it a minute.
Oh, Joe Rogan tweeted out something that was freaking hilarious. It was a picture of a dude being held up by his girlfriend up against a wall and they were making out.
Oh, God.
And he says, guys who wear their masks inside their cars. It's so freaking funny, dude. It's not normal. None of this is normal. It doesn't make any sense. And I really hope that people come to their senses and just kind of I mean,
I'm
I
not
feel like
gonna live
Vegas,
this
especially because of all the heat and sunlight here, like I've noticed a major difference in the last 2 weeks with how much traffic is out there, how many people are basically back to normal.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping things go.
People just aren't going to put up with
No.
the restrictions.
No, I mean, they're
being told what to do with their bodies.
Yeah, it's not. It's
can't
not
do
gonna
that.
happen.
Welcome to the patriarchy.
I know we're kind of deviating a little bit here, but the funniest thing that I noticed, because I go to the coffee shop and then I go get some breakfast just to get outside, and I go to the park like every other day down here.
Yeah.
And it's funny to me because all the gyms are closed, right? So what's happening is these people and these personal trainers, they're moving to the parks. There's a guy, he has a class, and he has like 15 people out there every day.
They're everywhere.
Every day at 8 a.m.
Really?
And, oh, yeah. And they all got their mats, and they're out there, and he's got his music, and yeah, it's hilarious.
That's probably his second class of the day because these people start at like 5, 6, 7 a.m.
It's so funny to me.
I might need to join his class.
It's great. It's like I look at these people, I go, good for them, man. Good for them.
Vader's going to be sitting there sipping on his coffee and donut, and he's going to see me just like doing jumping
Well, I
jacks.
do feel kind of bad because
my third class today.
I that's kind of how it goes. I'm sitting there with my coffee and donut or whatever, and I'm watching these people work out, and I'm like, that's really good. It's like, I know, and inside I'm all guilty. It's like, I know I should be over there with them, or at least doing some laps around the park. But
You're like,
it's
well,
nice.
watching them work out is increasing my heart rate. So that's exercise.
I just think
That's
it's funny.
cardio.
Are they wearing rubber gloves and
Oh, hell
masks?
no.
Okay, good.
Hell no.
That makes me
This
feel
is-
better at least.
It's like, I don't know.
They brought their own germ-infested yoga mats, though.
Oh, yeah.
So one more story I wanted to talk about.
Here it is.
Last one, I promise.
Okay, last one.
All right, and this kind of ties in with The Mandalorian because we all know that The Mandalorian's using the new digital sound stages where basically it's like this LCD screen that kind of does a 360-degree angle, and they load in the backgrounds for these things to save them time and money for special effects, and allows them to do all the lighting on set and stuff like that.
They show that on that show on Disney Plus now.
Yeah, the behind the scenes.
That's a fantastic show, by the way.
Yeah. And the software they use to make the digital backgrounds is the Unreal Engine. And Epic Games just kind of came out and announced the new version of Unreal, which is Unreal 5. And it has it could be a game changer for the way games are made because basically it now works natively with third-party programs like ZBrush. People who make these cinematic qualities, models and designs can just import them directly into Unreal without any loss in quality. And it also has dynamic lighting effects and all this stuff. And they put out this big 5-minute reel showcasing the power of this engine. And it's just absolutely amazing. And I think that in addition for the next gen of consoles in terms of the games that they can make off of this thing, the potential for movies and TV shows to use it is incredible as well. And it could change the way that basically special effects and stuff like that are done in movies and TV shows. Did you guys get a chance to see the demo?
I did. It was incredible.
It was gorgeous. It was really cool. And I love the idea that we're going to be able to make these, because one of the things when you're watching E3 and you're watching all these new the new console game is coming out and they're showing off all their new technology, they always show the cinematic stuff, but then when you actually sit down and play the game, it's not the same thing. But I think we're getting closer and closer to the point where cinematic and gameplay are essentially the same. So I just think it's super cool. I'm really excited about it.
When the day comes that I can put on a headset and be transported into a world like that's photorealistic.
Oh man,
it's over.
You guys ever get it?
I always told my wife, I go, I'm going to go out slaying dragons. And she goes, what do you mean? And I told her, I'm going to go out on a fucking holiday. Yeah. It's just how it's going to go.
Our old folks' homes are going to be so rad.
This is going to be awesome. This is going to be upload.
Yeah, probably, right? I just crap talking a few minutes ago. It's going to be awesome. Going to do Dungeons and Dragons groups. It's going to be killer.
You're going to be LARPing in the virtual reality.
What are we doing today, guys? Oh, we're going to go to Barovia and kill Count Strahd. Okay, cool. Let's do it.
That's amazing. Oh man, I'm looking forward to it. I gotta say,
To your afterlife?
to my afterlife, yes. And if to things like Vader Immortal, if you guys ever watch even just a video of somebody playing Vader Immortal when you put the Oculus Rift on, oh my god, I got to play like a demo version of it, dude. It was so amazing.
So Oculus Rift isn't a holodeck yet.
Not yet. They're working on it.
Not there
though.
yet, man.
Here's the cool thing about this, though. So Epic Games, basically, they're making this engine free to any developer that makes less than $1 million off of their stuff. So the potential for independent filmmakers who want to use this to create digital backdrops and stuff like that, or special effects that they could put on their phone or something, it's endless and it's out there and it's free. As long as, like once they hit $1 million in terms of revenue, then they have to like pay the licensing fee for the engine. But until that happens, it's, open source basically. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
The potential for this to change the way the entertainment industry makes movies is like just crazy.
Yeah, I agree. Can't wait. Good things are happening. And we're all going to be stuck at home, not being able to leave.
It's like, I'd like to buy a new computer, but I don't have a job.
So, hear that, everyone? Subscribe to our Patreon.
That's right. I need to slay dragons in my afterlife. You think it could happen.
Thank you for listening to the Salty Nerd News segment. If you guys like this podcast and you want to listen to more, you can go to saltynerd.com and check out all of our content. This month of May is dedicated 100% to Star Wars. And you guys can go listen to all of our cool podcasts all about Star Wars, starting with the prequels all the way through the rest of them. You guys can also, if you would like to support us with your non-job, go to saltynerdclub.com and donate to our podcast so that we don't have to work.
We take that unemployment debit card.
Yeah, for sure. Government money is good money. Matthew Kadish, where can they find you on the socials?
They can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish, and kadishbooks.com takes you to my Amazon page where you can check out my books.
Right on. Jude, where can they find you?
At I am Juju on Instagram and Twitter.
Right on. And what do you do on Instagram and Twitter? You post things.
I do post things.
What kind of things do you post?
You'll have to follow me to find out.
Well, there you go.
Also, you can find me on saltyvideo.com.
Right on. Book reviews.
Are you going to start cooking on Twitch?
Yeah, I just got to figure out how to bypass that whole topless, no nipple thing. Because I'm not doing it unless I can show full frontal.
Wow.
Purist.
That's my girl.
I told you, I'm a purist.
Matt Vader, where can they find you on the socials?
You can find me on the socials, see Twitch, Instagram, sort of. At Matt Vader 74.
There you go.
So yeah, Twitter, Twitch,
all that stuff.
Twatter, whatever.
All right, guys, have a great night.
Pornhub.
Thanks for listening.
Grinder.